Sunday, October 23, 2016. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is my 1998 Volvo V70. With any luck, I'm going to have the car on the road tonight, so it'll be more or less done. I have been working late at night pretty much all week on the car, and when I say late at night, I'm talking typically from 10 p.m. to past midnight, sometimes as late as 1:30. I want to clarify a remark in one of my previous videos. Actually, I probably said this a couple of times, and it was inadvertently a bit confusing. What I'd said was that, I'm not really under a time crunch to get this car done, but I kind of want to get it done anyway. And, well, what I meant was I'm not under a time crunch in terms of, a blizzard, because this is essentially my new winter car. But I am very low on free time these days. I have been this past year. For my regular viewers, you'll have noticed I've posted a lot fewer videos this year, and that number is actually probably going to be going down. The rest of my life is just getting more and more busy with family commitments, work commitments at my 9-to-5er. And now that the Subaru is gone, I really don't have a whole lot to show you, and probably don't have another car coming in anytime soon. As always, if anything interesting happens on one of the cars I have, I'll certainly try to keep you all in the loop. But let me give you the brief rundown of what I've done this past week. Now, most of the work I've done this past week has been inside the car, and by most I mean basically all. I'm a little behind on posting videos, but my previous video, which is not yet posted as of the filming of this one, is on replacing the heater core, and I tried to do a DIY video on that. Hopefully I got a little better lighting and maybe some better angles than some of the other videos out there, because like I said, there are some fantastic videos already on YouTube on how to replace the heater core on this car. So hopefully I was able to add something new to the mix. But once the heater core was in, I cleaned up and got these carpets back in. I've put trim panels back on. The screw hole behind here was broken, which tends to happen on these cars, so I zip tied it up in place. You'll never see that when you're, or at least I'll never see that when I'm driving the car. And I've also done some work on the door panels. I had both the front door panels off. I'll show you the passenger side in a minute. But I took this off for a couple of reasons, mostly so I could replace this door handle here. When I got the car, the door handle would not spring back. The spring itself was broken, so this is a piece I got in the junkyard last week. When I had the door panels off, I actually noticed that the center section here and the rear panel behind it had separated. So I clamped and I glued this all back together, and I glued the there's some, I can show you on the other one, but there's some extension pieces that actually hold trim clips, and I had to glue those back on as well. But basically, it's been all interior work in this car. I got the new sun visors in and cleaned up. You can see those hold up, and they have a good spring in them. And lots of other little items. And it's just been lots of little stuff. So my task for today is basically to finish up in here, get that door panel back on, get the seats in, get the console back in, and that will more or less do it. And then I have to get the car off the jack stands and refill the coolant. So this is the passenger side door panel, and these are the extension pieces I was telling you about. I really don't know what to call them, but these plastic pieces hold the trim clips, and these had all separated from the inner panel. So I used a good strong glue to hold these back on. Hopefully that'll work. And also, just generally, I re-glued the rear panel to the outer panel. So hopefully this is all good to go now. And I have a few new trim clips here to replace some broken ones. What else? There's also this here, the emergency flasher switch. Now when I bought the car, this was jammed in place and would not work. So I pulled the switch itself out, but in the process broke off these two retainer springs. So what I did was I actually cemented those back in place with some JB Weld. Hopefully this will fit in place nicely now. So that's basically where I am. I'm going to unclamp this, get this door panel on, and just get the rest of the interior back together now, and get all the junk off and out of the car. Hopefully by tonight I will be able to drive it. If not, I will be very close, and I will update you with my progress at the end of the day. Well, I'm done for the day. I got close, but not quite to the finishing point. So let me just show you what I've done. Once again, everything is basically inside the car. As you can hear, I have power hooked up again, and I have front seats in. These are actually front seats I got from the junkyard. These are manual heated seats. I don't yet know if the heaters work. And I have everything in here back together. I've got the radio in, and I'm going to need the radio code, which I can get online directly from Volvo. I actually went to their website a few weeks back to get the radio code in anticipation of taking this radio out. But this radio is it's already a replacement. It has a label on it indicating as such. It was replaced in the year 2001. So the radio code originally tied to this car's VIN from the factory doesn't work with this radio. So I need to get the radio code. Like I said, seats are in. It actually took a while to clean them because these were junkyard seats, but they turned out okay. They're certainly not perfect, but they're pretty good. And even if the heaters don't work, the reason I got them is because they are both manually operated seats. The color is ever so slightly darker than the factory upholstery, and you really do need the seats next to each other to see that. But it really does blend in just about perfectly with this interior. So if the rear seat is a hair lighter, it really doesn't bother me. I think the seats actually are a perfect match for the lower portion of the door panel there, and the rear seats are a perfect match for the door panel insert. As you can see, I have the door panel in, and that's all glued together now. I know you can see the patch there in the center, but I was unable to quickly locate a pair of decent front door panels locally, and even then it's going to be kind of a crapshoot on the color. So given that I wanted to put the car together cheap, I just put a patch on the torn vinyl. It doesn't look great, but once again, I don't care. So that's it. The car is back together, and I think most likely what's going to happen is tomorrow night I'm going to come out here, get the car off the jack stands, get it out in the driveway, fill it with coolant, bleed out the system, and then be done with it. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching.